Parashat Vayelech, Tafshin Pei Beis. Little bit of a difficult subject. Is very simple. It's very common. You would understand it very, very simply. How we get to it is a little bit more complicated than usual. So I'm going to go a bit slower. We're going to have to dig in quite a bit. Usually I give you a lot more volume, but here I'm going to have to give you a little bit less, but deeper. We're going to go a little bit deeper than usual. It's good because we're going to learn, we're going to go back to Ana Bechoyach. Always come back, this Ana Bechoyach. Let's start with the psukim. I'm going to share my screen. I didn't even put colors because then I would color everything. In this Parasha, it's a very interesting Parasha. This Parasha comes after Nitzavim, where everybody was there. It's what we call the Hag Hell. Everyone was gathered. And they were in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. And everyone has a difficulty understanding these words. All the Mefarshim ask about these words. What does it mean? Which is basically the name of the parasha, Vayelech Moshe. Never in the Torah you'll find them. Every time Bnei Israel, Vayikra, he called them, they came upon him, Vayakhel, he gathered them, but he never went out. So here Moshe Rabbeinu is, I want to say, maximum hours before his ptira. Not even. Hours before his ptira, because he wrote 13 Sifrei Torahs on the last day. Put it that way. If you want to put everything in context, the whole Sefer Devarim were the 37 last days of Moshe Rabbeinu. So here we arriving Parashas Vayelech to Parashas V'zosai Bracha, not much time left. Do you think Moshe Rabbeinu took the time and go around the Bnei Israel? Do you think he would be wiser to do a mitzvah at that time? When Rebbe was time to leave this world, his shivcha, that's why the pshat in the Gemara is, his shivcha said, the Elyonim and the Tachtonim are fighting. He wrote saying that the Tachtonim should win. Why? Explain who's that? Who explained this in the Gemara there? Explain the shivcha was the guf, and why did he want to stay a little bit longer in order to do a mitzvah? But once it's so that Rebbe was in pain and unable, didn't have the das to do a mitzvah, he says he wrote saying that the Elyonim should win. The time before we depart this world is to try to gather as many mitzvahs as we can. Not go and explain things to the Bnei Israel, as nice as Chesed is, but Torah is definitely the heavyweight here to take with us. So this Vayelech Moshe, not comprehensible. Now we're gonna go Vaydaber es hadevarim. First of all, Vaydaber, harsh language. Why so harsh? You're gonna say Vayomer afterward here, which is a soft language, soft spoken. So why do you start with the Vaydaber here? We don't see it well. This one needs to be seen. This is where we're gonna have our thread. Es hadevarim ha'ele. Ah, he went to the Bnei Yisrael, he told them those things. So Moshe Rabbeinu go through the hardship on his last moments to go to the Bnei Yisrael must be extremely trivial. But you don't tell me what it is. Eis hadevarim ha'ele. The last time we saw that was in Parashas Nitzavim. Eskola Dvarim Ha'ele, and Rashi explained, it was the 98 clauses that were mentioned in Kisavoi. You want to tell me that he told them again, but he just had them in front of him in Parashas Nitzavim. Really moments, they're still on their way home. Not everyone has reached their tent. So what's so important to tell them that you couldn't tell them when they were all gathered? And watch out, the pasuk is going to say here, El Kol Yisrael. Don't make, not El Yisrael, but to all the Jews, he told them those things. Oh, that's really great opening for a parasha to try to have a subject. Let's go to the next pasuk. Vayomer Aleihem. He told them. So Moshe Rabbeinu, if we want to say these things are what coming up, we didn't need all this language. He could have said, so obviously, if these words are here, these words contain the message. But Moshe Rabbeinu also told them, Ben Meya ve'esrim shana anoichi hayoim. Today, it's my 120th birthday. Very important to know that it's his birthday. We know HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mashlim, the days of the tzaddikim. They don't leave if it's not, they completed their years. But even without going to that extent, Me'av Esrim Shana Noichi Hayoim, I am 120. That's so important to go say before you Ptira, Moshe Rabbeinu. You're the holy of the holiest. You're the son of every generation. You took us out of Egypt, and you're going to take us out of Shibud Malchuyas. You brought them to the gate of Israel. With us, you'll take us into Eretz Israel. And all you find, only subject you have in mind is to tell them it's your birthday that day. What are you saying? Now Moshe says then, okay, Loi uchal oid lotzeis ve'lavoy. I cannot go in and out anymore. By the way, just about the 120th birthday, I just want to add, you remember by Midian that the Bnei Israel had refused to go to war for Midian, against Midian. Why? Because Hashem promised that after the war of Midian, Achar te'asef al amecha, Moshe Rabbeinu would pass away. And the Bnei Israel says, we don't want to lose you. We're not going to war. He had to convince them that it was the Retzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he had to do it. They had to do it. But they didn't want to go. So don't you think the Bnei Israel were holding, and we're going to see how much, at the end, how much they were holding of Moshe Rabbeinu. I cannot go out and come in. What? You want to tell them you cannot go out and come in? Yes, I know. You're leaving the world. What are you telling me? These languages are usually referred to the sun. The sun comes out and sets. So Okay, I mean, all these languages, I mean, we see word after word. Vashem Amar Elai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me, Lo Yisaver Es HaYarden Hazeh. Like it's the first one they hear it, right? They heard it with Moshe, with Aaron and everything, Meriva. No, he has to repeat it to them. And in case you thought there was another Yarden, it says this one, not the other one. The other one you can cross. This one you cannot cross. How many Yarden do you know? Don't know if I'm going to be able to reach the third pasuk, but I'm going to try because it's really containing a message which is really should be v'haya ekef tishmeun, those mitzvahs that we trample over with our feet and have a tremendous value. This is the one. Hashem Elokecha. Usually, Hashem Elokeichem is going to jump from singular to plural, back to singular through the Parasha, without, really any logic or any grammar rule. But here, we're going to have just, you're going to see why I'm going to highlight the Hashem Elokecha. I have a famous vote. Hashem Elokecha equals 92. Pachad equals 92. Choose where you want to be. You have the right, you have the left. You can trust God or you can have fear because you think you can do it. You decide what you want to do. But Hashem Elokecha, every time I see, I went through a lot of them, and every time you see this, there's an inyan of pachad. There's an inyan of fear. Almost we're addressing fear here. But look at this language. Hu oiver lefanecha. Well, Hashem was not there when Moshe Rabbeinu was alive? Where was HaKadosh Baruch Hu? He was not before Am Yisrael. It was not HaKadosh Baruch Hu who had the Anan Kavod and the Anan before the Bnei Yisrael and so forth. No. So what he means, Hu oiver lefanecha. Now he comes, he passes you, and he comes before you. Interesting. And what's more interesting is it's going to repeat exactly the same words for Yehoshua. Now you tell me HaKadosh Baruch Hu oiver lefanecha, I'm fine. You tell me Yehoshua hu oiver lefanecha. Look, hu oiver lefanecha. You already said the noun. What do you have to repeat and give me a pronoun here? Yehoshua oiver lefanecha. Hashem Elokecha oiver lefanecha. Who? Who? No. In case you forgot, who are we talking about? Who? Then, who? Again, who yashmid es hagoyim ha'edeh? He will exterminate all these nations. From before you, virishtam, you will inherit them. Kasha diberlach. I think we have enough questions. I don't want to add here. There's a few more questions, but I think we have enough questions here. I'm going to have to explain a little bit of a deep subject here. The godless of Moshe Rabbeinu, we're going to barely touch it, but we're going to see already how deep it goes. So when Moshe Rabbeinu told them, I cannot go out and I cannot come in, you know what the Gemara says in Soita? When came the time of Moshe Rabbeinu to depart this world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, come to Har Nevoy, where he's going to be buried. And there were 12 big steps to reach the top of the mountain. So it must be a big thing. Moshe Rabbeinu took a leap, pop, all the way to the top. where is Moshe? What is really the problem here with Moshe Rabbeinu? I mean, what is he basically trying to tell the Bnei Israel? Obviously, when we come in front of psukim, there are no simple explanation. The direction is to the Zohar. The Zohar goes back to, says, you know why Moshe Rabbeinu, was niftar? Is because he lost his right hand. Who was his right hand? It was Aaron HaKohen. And like a body, when you're missing a hand, you kind of hunch sideways. You don't walk straight, and obviously you're losing your balance. Aaron was so important that he brought HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe and Aaron together were a pair. What they have achieved is always together. When we see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's spirit coming down amongst the Bnei Israel, is because of Aaron. So Moshe Rabbeinu had a tremendous problem, void since he lost Aaron. Okay, I'm fine. Aaron HaKohen, tremendous figure. Oy have shalom, berodei shalom. The chosem of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the seal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shalom. Okay, he's the Kohen Gadol. He's the one saying the Shema Mefoirash. He's the one entering the Kodesh HaKodashim. I am fine with that. I just have one big problem. Why don't you say that in Parashas Chukas when Aaron HaKohen was niftar? It's a long time, Parashas Chukas. We had Balak, we had Pinchas, then we had Matas Masei, then we had Devarim, Vaischanan, and so forth. If Moshe Rabbeinu was unable to survive without Aaron HaKohen, how did he survive all that time? And only now you're telling me he cannot survive with Aaron HaKohen? Something is missing here. We don't understand the depth of the Zohar points out, it says now, Yeshua comes, and Yeshua will take over, and Yeshua is complete. The Ruach Chochma, Male Ruach Chochma is full of God's spirit and intelligence and so forth. But if you want to see the difference between Moshe and Aharon and Yeshua, Moshe being the face of the sun, and Aaron being, like the Gemara brings down after that, and Rashi brings it down on the pasuk, and Yeshua is the face of the moon. Basically, Moshe Rabbeinu is the sun, and Yeshua is the moon. We're going to get into it because now we're starting really touching the subject, which is the real inyan. We're going to show through the psukim that Moshe will talk. The last thing Moshe would say to the Bnei Israel is obviously extremely important. And that's, we're starting now building this subject and proving it first. So the Zohar says, look, when Moshe Rabbeinu was alive, they had lechem min hashamayim. They had food from heaven, the man. But as soon as they crossed the Yarden, Vayhimi Machoris, the next day, that's it. There was no man anymore. No more. Why? The schus of Moshe was so big. But Moshe in Bamidbar requested from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his love from the Bnei Yisrael was boundless. The Midrash brings down Midrash Tanchum Vav on this week Parasha, on Vayis Chana. No, this week Parasha. No, this week Parasha goes to Gimel. Vayis Chana. It's in Vayis Chana. Vayis Chana and Vav. So Hashem says to Moshe, you want to stay alive? Fine. But then the Bnei Yisrael cannot. He said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, 1,000 Moshe and alike should die, and not one of the Bnei Yisrael. The love of Moshe Rabbeinu for the Bnei Yisrael was beyond, I have no adjective for it. Astronomical, I don't know. What he's going to do and how he's going to care and what he's going to tell them, with such a love. Actually, when he davens to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he should find a new manhig, he tells them that he should be leading them to war. He shouldn't be like all the kings go from behind. No, by the Jews, we lead. A leader leads. And they should go, the number that goes out should come back. He should have enough schusim that to protect the Bnei Yisrael at the time of Din, because it's a time of war. But above that, you know what he's asking? He should be tremendously patient with them. He should be able to take their burden and take their assaults and take their grief and not get angry at them. Moshe Rabbeinu is fine passing on the baton to the next one, but he's not fine to pass it on to just anyone. Now he's taking his Talmud, which he knows inside out. So Hashem gives a reason to Moshe Rabbeinu why he has to depart this world. He tried everything, Moshe Rabbeinu, every reason. The Midrashim are so long on this, but so beautiful. Each word is like the rarest pearl you can find. So the Gemara says that in Yoma, that kingship do not overlap. For example, when it was time for Shaul to become king, he arrived a few seconds too early. And the Midrash says there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to send girls asking him questions, and girls talk a lot. So to make him waste a little bit of time, so the kingship of Shmuel reaches its term. But you see, Shmuel didn't die when Shaul started his kingship. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, what's the problem? If Yeshua has to start his leadership, let him be the leader. Let me be a Talmud. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, fine. If you can take that, I'm fine. Next morning, Moshe Rabbeinu gets up, goes to the door of Yeshua. We have two versions here. We have the version of the Midrash Rabbah and the version which is not too far away from the Midrash Tanchuma. and they're making each one a different point. So we're going to start with the Midrash Rabbah. He goes to the door. Yeshua opened the door in the morning, panics to see his Rav, because he used to go to Moshe's door every morning. And this time he sees his Rebbe. He says, anything wrong? And what happened? He was all unsettled by this. Says, no, nothing. As usual, let's go to the Oyhal Moed. And he walks to the left of Yeshua. Specifically, the Midrash said the sons of Aaron, I mean the Kohanim, walked on the right side of Yeshua, and Moshe Rabbeinu walked on the left. Interesting how Yeshua let this happen, whatever. Yeshua goes to teach Torah. Bnei Israel come, and Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't understand what's going on. He can't follow anymore. He doesn't know. So they're asking him questions, the Bnei Israel, after that, after the shir, to explain him the Torah that Yeshua gave. He's incapable of explaining it. He raised his eyes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he said, I cannot live like this. Take me. Moshe Rabbeinu agreed to depart this world. That was the first time. It's a little bit different. According to the Midrash Tanchuma, Moshe Rabbeinu arrived while Yeshua was giving a drasha, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it on purpose, that he didn't see Moshe Rabbeinu standing up at the door. So the Bnei Israel, as usual, they went to the door of Moshe Rabbeinu in the morning to ask him shaylos and learn Torah. And they told him he went to the tent of Yeshua's tent. They go there, they find him at the door, and Yeshua giving a shir inside. They scream at Yeshua, what's wrong? Moshe Rabbeinu, our master, is standing up and you're sitting down. Yeshua gets up, tears his clothes. That's Kriya. How could this happen that he crossed it's a big Indian, the covet of his Rebbe, and Moshe Rabbeinu told him the truth, that he's gonna lead. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. But then HaKadosh Baruch Hu called them into the Oyhal Moed and talked to Yeshua, and like an anon, a cloud came separating Moshe Rabbeinu from Yeshua. So after finished talking, Yeshua with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moshe Rabbeinu asked him, what did he say? He told him, very interesting answer. When Hashem used to talk with you, I knew what he was saying. But now he told me not to tell you. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, I don't want to fall in for jealousy. 1,000 death and not one jealousy. Here is the foundation of the shir. We're starting now. Moshe Rabbeinu says, it's better to die 1,000 times rather than falling into the jealousy. And the Midrash brings a pasuk from Shir HaShirim, Kasha kish oil kin'a. I think I wrote it. No, I didn't write it. So, Kasha kish oil kin'a, the Kiyaza kamave sahava, the love is as strong as death, and a kina is like Gehinnom. Kish oil kin'a. The path. If someone is looking the way for Gehinnom, smell the heat. This is where Kina is. If you're looking for Kina, you'll find it there. All right. We know the Mishnah, Kina v'akayve v'atayve v'akaved moitzines adam min ha'olam. There are three attributes that take a person out of this world: Kina, Taiva, and Kaved. There's nothing new in there. So all this secrecy and these terms in the pasuk, just to tell us such things that simple, it's not possible. So I look further in the Zohar. I find the Zohar in Parashas Chukas. It takes a pasuk here, and he says, the pasuk a bit further says, "Hincha shoichev imavoisecha," you will lay with your ancestor, vekam, and you will stand. Moshe Rabbeinu. So basically, it's like when the sun is out, it's during the day. We're just gonna, in order to understand what happens with Moshe Rabbeinu, we really have to look at the sun. When the sun shines during the day, it shines to everybody. Its rays goes to everybody everywhere. When the sun sets and the moon starts, the moon can only shine from, the moon is black. The moon has no light. You know why it has no light? Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer explains that on the fourth day of the creation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the luminaries, the big luminaries, the sun and the moon, and they were shining equally. They had the same size. They were identical, like perfect twins. The moon went to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, said, how can two kings serve with the same crown? HaKadosh Baruch Hu told the moon, since you're the complainer, then you will have to diminish yourself. Why did the moon go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to complain? Because the moon they were bickering with each other all the time, the sun and the moon. Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, the Rebbe of Rabbi Akiva, says that. Each one was telling the other, I'm bigger than you. I'm strong, my light is stronger than yours. The moon had it, had enough of it. Says, you know what? Let me ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It didn't start a fight. It did not start a machloikes with the sun, but it was on the path of machloikes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu stopped it right there. Says, moon, diminish yourself. What it means, diminish yourself? Lose your light. You have no more light. You came to complain about your friend. You will lose what you have. When someone comes and complains about someone to Hashem, first, the Gemara in Bracha says the din starts with him, and he loses what he has. Now, the punishment is everything you will have will come from the very person you complained from. Don't you find that sarcastic? You can punish someone. Moshe Rabbeinu said, 1,000 death, not one kina. This is worth 2,000 death, 10,000 death. That's a tremendous punishment. Why? What is machloikes? A discord, a fight, anything you want. if you take the word hamachloikes, the machloikes, you know what it is? The sword of the Malach HaMavis. The sword of the Nachash. Hamachloikes equals 589. Ze cherev HaNachash equals 589. It is the sword of the Nachash. If you need me to show it to you, to write it for you, I will. Just then open your microphone, tell me. It's a pretty simple gematria, this one. So we see the machlokes is totally at the opposite spectrum of where a Jew should be. If there's one thing you have to run away from at any cost, at anything, is the machlokes. Yes, you can improve yourself after that, building yourself up with mitzvahs, but the one thing you should not do. Now we're gonna see why. Now we're gonna start rebuilding the psukim and understand what's going on. Because Moshe Rabbeinu, I would explain you this inside the psukim, because I want it to fit in the words. So you see, the message was not really so hidden. We just had to scratch the surface and start seeing a message here. Moshe Rabbeinu is requested, V'samachta yadecha, you have to place your hands on Yehoshua. Gemara in Baba Basra. You put v'nosata mehoitcha alav, and you'll put from your glory on him. The Gemara deducts from the lashon of the pasuk mehodecha, from your glory, but not all your glory, only partially. But you chochma, put it on him. 1 second. Moshe Rabbeinu here would righteously complain. He worked extremely hard during his life. He suffered tremendous to open these gates of chokhmah. Now you're telling me, give them back out for free? What kind of a test is that? But what do Moshe Rabbeinu do? Right away he did. Gladly, happily, and this is the message he's going to give to Am Yisrael. Let's go here in the pasuk now and start answering questions. Where is he coming from, Moshe? Where did he go? Moshe came from Yehoshua, from the tent. This is the time. Why it's the only time it says this in the Torah? Because this is when Moshe Rabbeinu accepted the decree of death. Vayelech Moshe equals 411. 411 is mismoil, exactly the word of the Midrash. This is where he went standing on the left of Yehoshua, which is after that the whole Inyan, and he decided he cannot live like this because he will be nichshal, either with kina or with machlokes. Now the sun and the moon find themselves in the same situation they were in Ma'aseh Bereshis, but in reverse mode. The sun can have a complaint. The sun can have a taina on the moon. Why should I give him everything? This is mine. I worked for it so hard. I will give you a 5-pointer because you're going to say, what does it have to do? Yom Kippur is coming. I will give you a yesod that encompass, and you're going to see what is included, what is inside all this. Vaidaber. Now you start understanding why Vaidaber, harsh language. Because he tells them about the Machlokes. And he's going to tell him exactly what he has done, what he was feeling, and what he's walking away from. And at what cost. He tells them, Eis hadevarim ha'ele, these things. You know what is these things? It's 703. Oyer HaMalchus. He went to give all his light to the Malchus, which is the Levana, that's going to take over and lead the Bnei Israel. So far, the Bnei Israel, the Zohar says, when they were in Mitzrayim, they could only come out because of the sun. So now, where is the sun and where is the moon? Let me explain you where is the sun and where is the moon. The Malchus is the sun. The Malchus is the moon. Has no light from its own. The Tiferes, when the Torah comes from, the word of the Tiferes, is the sun. Moshe Rabbeinu, Yaakov Avinu are holding onto here, which includes Chesed and Gvura. Both are included here, and this is Moshe Rabbeinu here. And Moshe Rabbeinu reached far higher than this, but when he was playing sun, which is a lower madrega for him, he was in the Tiferes and shining upon the Malchus. Why does he need to shine upon the Malchus? Because the Chesed, the Gvura, the Netzach, the Hoy, the Yesod, all put the bracha inside the Tiferes pours it into the Malchus outside. One reason. Second reason is because the oil of the Tiferes is the oil of Torah, it's so bright that all the klippos cannot hold on to the Malchus. Why would they hold on to the Malchus? What's at night? Night is darkness, right? Now you understand why the moon could not have any light, because otherwise there would be no more darkness. So where with the Chitzonim, where all the klippos would live? This is their realm. This is when the Satan comes out, the Zohar says, and entices people to sin. It's at night. At night, the pitui, the enticement of the Yetzer Hara is the strongest. Now the Levana, the Malchus, went at night. Oh, they're so happy. Why? Because now they have some Kedusha here, which they can hold on. It's the Or HaChama. The Or HaChama is Rabbi Avraham Mazulai, the grandfather of the Chida HaKodesh, says that when the Satan comes and holds on to the Malchus and suckle from it, he has what to feed all his armies of Tmeim. All his armies, it's enough. So now, this is why it's very important that the sun shines on the Malchus. We have to keep connected. Now you remember, this is the Vav Hey together. Mitzvah. It's in Adbash Yud K, but it's hidden, which is Chochma and Bina. Va is these two. We always have to keep them together so the Shechina does not suffer the bites from the sun. So let's go back to our pasuk. We understood that. He tells them, Ben Meya ve'esrim shana anoichi hayoim. Today, not it's my birthday. I emptied myself out. A person would love to leave this world with the full pockets. No. All my chokhmah, everything I have given it to Yeshua. So what? Yeshua is at the level of Moshe Rabbeinu? No. The Zohar says he filled up his well. And the vessel of each person, once you fill it, you can't pour more. It's going to overflow. So whatever vessel Yeshua had, whatever well, depth and size, Moshe filled it up. He had plenty left. Because since Moshe Rabbeinu till Mashiach, he is the leader. Moshe Rabbeinu passed away only to shine in every leader of every generation. This is what it tells them. The oil of the Malchus you have in every generation is from me. I don't leave you, because they understood that the Chokhmah of Moshe Rabbeinu and the Tzinoros coming from Moshe Rabbeinu, the understanding of the Torah will never be the same after Moshe Rabbeinu leaves. And indeed, it was never the same. They almost killed Yeshua a few days after Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. Midrash brings down that Moshe Rabbeinu, right before he passed away, asked Yeshua, do you have any question to ask me? He says, no, I was with you all my life. I remember all the Torah. So it was so brazen that Kodesh Baruch Hu made him forget 300 halachas. So when Bnei Yisrael came to ask him for halachas, and he says, those one have forgotten when Moshe passed away, they wanted to kill him. Because someone who forgets part of the Torah is chayav misa. The Shekhinah had to intervene in order to stop them. Moshe Rabbeinu is the source, is the tiferes of the whole Torah. That's why he says this lashon here that means basically words that we don't understand. Sorry, es hadevarim ha'ele here. These things means I went to do this thing. Hamalchus. El Kol Yisrael, 6:22. 6:22 is Bakeser. Only Moshe Rabbeinu can go as high and connect someone up to here. He had no kina. He was not envious. He was not jealous, nothing. He connected this line all the way up to the Keser to shine upon Yeshua, so he should be accepted by the Bnei Israel. That's what Moshe went to do in these last moments of life. And he told them, Ben Meya ve'esrim shana anoichi hayoim. I'm going to explain you this one after I come back to this one, because so we can understand. Lo yuchal oed latzeis ve'lavoi. I didn't write how much is the lo yuchal oed latzeis ve'lavoi, but it's 622 plus 112, it's 734. So this equals to 734. Lo euchal oed latzeis ve'lavoi. Moshe Rabbeinu, you leaped all the way up a whole mountain in one shot, and it says, the pasuk says, Lo yinosnechu. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't hunt back anything. He had the same strength, because he was not a physical strength. It was a strength of the Torah. 734 equals, I'm going to give you a yesod here that is known. Who talks a little bit about it? It's Me'or Vashemesh. I think it's in Parashas Vaschanan. We say many times a sentence in davening. I can copy that. I want to write the name of Hashem. This page I'm writing. 8, page 6. Hashem Yaneinu Beyom Koreinu. I think we say it 7 times in Shachris. If you take these letters, okay, open microphones, please. Tell me which word is that. The first letters. We say it in the Korbanos 3 times. We say it in Hoidu. We say it in Yehi Chevoid. We say it in Uvaletzion 5 times. Don't remember where the rest of the times. So, which word is this word? Yud Beis Kuf. You remember this word in the Torah? Yaboik. Vaya'avar esma'avar Yaboik. When Yaakov went to confront the Malach of Esau,
When he fought with the Malach.
That's right. That's right. Let me ask you a question. He had very strong children, the Shifteka. They let the father work, go by himself at night, go out at night. Reuven, Yosef was already 13 years old. So they were grown up. They were, they were adults at that time. Reuven, Shimon, Yehuda.
No. Wanted to be alone.
No, that's right. Not allowed to be alone. He was not. They were not. They were not so old, because by Shechem, right after Shimon and Levi were 13 years old. Sorry, my bad. The 113 was ruined. But look what they've done. And if you read the Yalkut Shimoni on Parshas Vayishlach, you will see the 6-day war that they undertook. How they used to leap over walls, huge walls over cities, and they used to kill the Giborim. How did you let your father go out? How did you let Yaakov Avinu? I don't want to waste a lot of time on this because we're not in the Parasha. Yabok, it's very well known. It's Ariya Kaddish. There's 2 ways to write it. Either I write anyone who needs a tefillah to be accepted, certain tefillah, and when he says Hashem Yaneinu B'Yam Karenu and thinks about these names like this, it's a yichud, his tefillah is accepted. Because his tefillah goes with the names of Hashem, no angel, no doors closed, there's closed door, blast, the doors open, boom. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu tells them. Do you think, like I said, do you think I will disappear? No, I will still shine, but I will shine through the Malchus. I'm not allowed to shine directly. I cannot. Hashem wants me to retire because when the sun is set, the sun never stops to shine. But once you don't see that it's night, it shines on the Levana, says the Zohar. Lo yuchal oid lotzeis velovoi. It's the keser of these three names together. Yudke, Vavke, Keh, and Adnos. Why? Because the place of Moshe Rabbeinu is right here. Moshe Rabbeinu, on his last day, he reached the 50 Sharei Bina. So he's here. And he can go down here and shine upon the mountains. So he can bring directly the Shefa from Chochmah and Bina and bring it down through the Tiferes, bring it down to the Malchus. So he told them, now I'll be in a better position to send a Shefa to you. That's what he tells them in the pasuk there. And here now you're going to understand, he's not sending an invitation card for his birthday. This equals to 1221, 1,221, which is 11 times Aleph, meaning he has completed every madrega that's possible to reach on this earth. I am 120. Now you're going to tell me, oh, there's only 10. I'll show you something. We're going to count. Malchus, 1. Yesod, 2. Netzach, 3. Hod, 4. 5. Tiferes. 6. Chesed. Gvura. Chachma. Bina. 10. Where is the 11th? It's not seen. It's in the back. It's called Das. Das encompasses the Chachma and the Bina. And you're going to see where the Das is mentioned here also in the. So when what was the name of the idiot? Bilam. When Bilam said Ve'yodea Das Elyon, and he knew Das Elyon, he was like Moshe Rabbeinu. He was able to read the Das that was here. That's the reason he was a match to Moshe Rabbeinu. So once you put, so the one forward are the number are 10, but really there's another one behind here, which is called the Das, and it's not seen. And you have 11. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, I have reached all I can reach on this earth. There's nothing really for me here to grow. I have to go in behind the scene and start working on. These are the names of the Geula. These are the names which Eliyahu Hanavi will come. Because if I would say Keser Eliyahu Hanavi equals exactly the same amount here. Moshe Rabbeinu went to prepare the Geula. And together with the Mashiach, he will come. Now, so we saw Lo yuchal oid latzeis ve'lavoi, what Moshe Rabbeinu meant with that. So we explained, I explain it this way just to give you this yesod, this yichud, that in case someone needs to daven. But the crazy thing is, if I go back to tell you now, after what we have learned, es hadevarim ha'ele, like the Ana Bechoyach. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The name of Wednesday, Heres, right? The luminaries were created on that day. The Machloikes created a B'gam here on this name. Because Machloikes reneges the existence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because who is the Baal Machloikes? If you're taking Machloikes, but equals 584 equals Kina Taiva. How do you get to Machlekes with this midas? You understand why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to get close to this, because this leads to the path of Machlekes. Now, if I want to break it down, you know what Taiva equals to? Taiva equal, it's 417. No, first of all, here I should have put Hakin Veha Taiva. And Taiva equals 417. Sorry. Ha Taiva equals 417 equals Hasina HaKavod HaGaiva. You want to know the source of the machlekes? Why do we have to stay away? Why is the machlekes killing a person? Why is the machlekes uprooting, reneging the HaKadosh Baruch Hu in all its form, in the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the whole Yud Kei Vav Kei, because it has all these midas: Kina, Sina, Kaived, and Gaived. That's the root of the machlekes. And Moshe Rabbeinu here, es hadevraim ha'ele, he told them he had the power to correct the machlekes of the first day, because it's equal to the name of the fourth. What coincidence can it be? The day of the machlekes, Moshe Rabbeinu is giving them a hint with words that don't make any sense. That's exactly the value of the Shem of the fourth day. Because the Levana, even though he didn't try, as we said before, a full machlekes, but still he went to complain to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he was on the path, he affected that name. And Moshe Rabbeinu, with his goodness, with his good eye, giving everything to Yeshua without holding back or complaining to Hashem or delaying it, corrected the whole thing. That's what he hinted. Instead of you should understand that everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And no matter, like the Gemara says in Yuma, and Adam negia b'muchan lechavero, a person cannot touch what is ready for his friend. Oh, it's mine, I have a tiny. You don't understand. If it's yours, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring it to you. Now you're going to understand why HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu not to cross the Yarden. Says the Machzef Alavan, Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzera Zechus Yagan Aleinu, that the Yarden, that HaKadosh also says it, but he said it very nicely, the Machzef Alavan, the Hayarden is two words, Har and Din, which mean both of them, Din Kasher. If Moshe Rabbeinu had gone through the Yarden, he would have canceled the whole Din. The Chesed LaAvram, Rabbi Avram Azulai say, that if Moshe Rabbeinu had gone into Eretz Yisrael, right away the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi would have come down, the Mashiach would have come, the world would have never been a world as we know, would have been done. Why? Because the din is in the Yarden. And if Moshe had crossed the Yarden, the din would have run away. Nobody could have withstood the Kedusha and the power of Moshe Rabbeinu. And why? Now we understand. Because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, give all your chokhmah to, yes, he does it. And I have a busha in my last 4 hours. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't take it back, doesn't break down. Moshe Rabbeinu hold his ground. He did what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him to do. That's all that matters. Things happened to me. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided. A person who wants to be saved has to understand in his being, Hashem hu ha'eloikim. Whenever you see a din, you feel it's a din, but it's Hashem behind it, it's Rachmim. Have emunah. If you take, I'm not going to start with this now, giving another pasuk. I wrote it, but Shlomo HaMelech said in Koheles, Kavod le'ish. What is the kavod of a person? Sheves meriv, remaining away from a fight. This equals to 1,327, I think, or 28, equals 13 times emunah. Emunah in all the midas. Your Yud Gimel midas that bring you want Shefa, fill them up with emunah. You believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mashgiach on every prat in this world. Nothing is left to possibilities. Nothing can be an occurrence. No, yes, this guy raised his hand and slapped you. He's a Russia, no question. But he didn't do it. A person doesn't move his little finger unless they decide so up there. So if he moved his whole hand, kol sheken that is from Shamayim, we have to believe. The whole inyan of Moshe Rabbeinu was to be able to go with full, complete emunah on the 13 midas. And that's why the 13 midas were mashpia to him. That's why he had Sinoras HaChochma. That was, he was able to reach a level that no one, all the Torah that's going to be learned from the time Moshe Rabbeinu received it till the time of the Mashiach comes is the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Only because he shines this Torah to us, therefore, otherwise we would not be. Why did he deserve that? Because you see the midas of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what this Parasha tells us. That's what these words, are coming and telling us. If you take Hashem Elokecha hu oiver lefanecha, equals exactly Latzeis v'Lavu, 566. So he tells Bnei Israel, you never have to worry. When something happened, HaKadosh Baruch Hu already prepared an exit, prepared a solution. Nothing is never without a net. It's a very interesting, there's a few more gematrias like this that kind of balances, exactly what Moshe Rabbeinu is going to take with him. It's already replaced here. These tell us two things, the two extremes. One extreme is whenever there's machlokes, whenever there's skina, whenever there's taiva, run for your life. Where do I run? To this place where you have these three names, because this is where Moshe Rabbeinu is. And you need to get the light of Moshe Rabbeinu to be prevented to fall in here, because that's his power. With this, a person goes to Yom Kippur, there's no way he doesn't come out completely white. Whiter than ever white he was born. Like Moshe Rabbeinu was able to reach levels that he had way beyond that. It's not we try to get as clean as the first day we came to this life. We try to get cleaner than even the level, and you connect to Moshe Rabbeinu. This is the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. This is what we need to take in Yom Kippur with us. We stay from now on away from machlokes at any cost. Yes, it's tempting, but watch out. This is the sword of the Satan. This is the sword of the Nachash. It's tempting you. Yeah, you have every right. But still, if you fall for it, I'll give you one more gematria, just to finish on them, just to show you that It never ending a machlokes. Whatever was lost in a machlokes will never be regained. The Levana became black. Shaya tells us, the Nabi tells us at the end of time, Asilavoi vehaya oir halevana ke oir hachama. The oil of the Levana will become like the today's sun, but the sun will be shivasayim ke oil shivasayim, 7 times 7, 49 times the light of the Bria or the oil agonus. The Levana started at the same level as the Chama, as the sun, and even at the time. Even at the time of the Le'asid Lavoi, whatever machlokes of beginning of machlokes that happened will never be compensated, will never reach its original level. If I would give you one guess after this year, Oir halvana ke'arachama, what is equal to? Because it has to hint us the reason. Because here the Nabi gives us words, and it has to give me a reason here. This is what Koheles says, Me'uvas lois yuchal liskoin. There are sins that you cannot correct. Vechisaren and did you hear what I say chisaron in English? A chisaron that you can never feel. A void that you can never feel. Equals machlokes. The message of this parasha. Baruch Adonai La'olam, Amen ve'amen.